and the tension between those two factions is what has been blamed globally for the fighting in that region. Here at home, the controversy that has divided the U.S. since the early 1970s once again finds itself on the hearts and minds of the American public. Leslie Kyle has that report.
Thanks, Aaron. Tomorrow, the Senate will be voting on a bill which has been called the most monumental decision on abortion to come down the pike since Roe v. Wade. While votes such as these are usually decided by collective blocs from one party or another, this truly divided Senate finds itself at a virtual 50-50 split, with the apparent deciding vote and the weight of the country resting on the shoulders of Senator Margaret O'Connell. Senator O'Connell, who represents one of the most conservative, Bible-thumping districts in the U.S., has baffled and even frustrated many of her constituents by her refusal to speak publicly about her voting intentions. Joining us now to perhaps shed some light on the subject is Kelly Winstrom, Chief of Staff for Senator O'Connell. Ms. Winstrom, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
How do the voters, in particular the ones in Senator O'Connell's district, feel about the senator's stance on this issue? Or should I say, lack of stance?
Well, Leslie, the senator's supporters have responded overwhelmingly and have vowed to stand behind her. According to the majority, they are very confident in the senator's stance, whether she verbalizes it or not.
And what is the senator's response to that?
Well, as you know, the senator is determined to be as fully knowledgeable about all aspects of this bill. She feels that while it may appear to some of her critics as political posturing, it is in reality exactly what she was elected to do.
With the vote being so close and Senator O'Connell literally controlling the pendulum, how do you explain her reluctance to reassure the public of her voting intentions, which most pundits say should be a no-brainer for her?
She has always been very well informed on every bill at vote. This one is no different.
So with the vote just one day away, the senator takes no stance, one way or another, on this abortion bill.
Again, it is her job to be as well informed as possible.
Well, it sounds like her constituents, as well as the rest of the country, are going to have to continue to play the waiting game for now. Thanks for joining us, Kelly.
Thank you, Leslie.
Ms. Winstrom, over here. The senator has not been returning calls all day. Can you tell us if she's in the building?
I don't know. I just got here myself.
What about the rumor that she's holding out for leverage on being named head of the committee?
That rumor is totally ridiculous and unfounded.
Do you have anything to say about the statement made by the party chairman last night?
I haven't even heard the statement. How in the world can I make a comment on it?
Ms. Winstrom.
Okay, look. We all know that the senator's being bombarded in every direction. We'll have something to announce later. Thank you so much for coming.
Ms. Winstrom,
That'll be
all the questions. Thank you for your time.
So, you want to hear about the kind of day I've been having?
I saw the interview. I like the blouse Leslie was wearing.
Am I too far away for you to see that I'm not laughing?
Sorry. The vote's tomorrow, Kel. One more day and this will all be over.
So that's the plan then. We hole up here until tomorrow morning. After, of course, you've had every opportunity to alienate every last supporter, waiting on your big surprise.
Kelly, there's no surprise. I just need a little more time.
With all due respect, you don't have any more time. Public opinion changes minute by minute, and your minute's just about up. The Women's Faith Conference called, again.
About what?
About whether or not you're still coming to New York next month.
Why wouldn't I be?
I'm sure they're thinking, depending on your vote tomorrow, you may or may not still be a guest of honor. And you have a press conference at 5:30.
I haven't scheduled anything.
I did.
You did.
I had to. You have got to give your people something. They are not willing to roll the dice on what you might do tomorrow. I was acting on what I thought was in the best interest of this office. I thought that by giving an actual deadline, it might help
Rush things along?
You have got to give your people reassurance about the person they voted into this office. And if you can't do that, then they're as good as lost. Along with me.
Are you resigning because you don't approve of the way I'm handling things? Is that what you're saying?
Okay, look, listen, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. I know we're both stressed out, but this is becoming something bigger than it needs to be. It's a no-brainer. You should have been out there for weeks now, talking about making history and turning the tide on this whole abortion mess. You could have so much political clout right now that you would be—
For once, it's not about clout, Kelly. I just have to work through—
Work through what?
I believe that I'm—
No one cares what you believe. It's just about the vote.
I'm going for a walk.
A walk? Where? We've got to—
No, you've got to. I'm going for a walk.
I'll call security.
It's okay. I'll go the back way.
Come on. Come on. Yeah, come on, boy. Come on. Come on. Come on. Oh, yeah. Oh, you're a good boy, aren't you? You're a champion bone chaser, aren't you? Yeah. Oh, what you got? Oh, there you go. Oh, need some in your ear? Oh, just run through a sticker bush? Would you hold this, please?
Oh, no, I just washed.
There. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. There. Does that feel all better? Huh? Is that all better? Yeah. Oh, thanks. I didn't want that thing to get lodged in there. Oh, yeah. Oh, you're adorable, aren't you?
What's his name?
Butkus. And right now, his owner is worried sick trying to find him. Yeah.
Why don't you call him? Do you have your cell phone?
No, I don't have one. Besides, his owner will be along any minute now. I'm sorry, is it okay if we sit here?
Oh, sure.
Do you have any pets?
Oh, no. We have a cat.
That counts.
I've always been more comfortable with cats than dogs. Cats are more like people.
You mean all warm and cuddly?
Yeah, that's it. She's been acting funny the last few days. Doesn't seem to want to eat or play.
Vickers, come on, baby.
Come on, come on.
Come on.
You know, I'm pretty good with animals. If you want, I can take a look at your cat for you.
Are you a vet?
Not really. Just love animals. You don't look like you're here for exercise.
No, I just needed some air.
In a cemetery?
Oh, it's close by, and I like the peace and quiet. Guess that's a little morbid.
Maybe not. Coming here causes you to contemplate life and death. Some people, that's just what they need to get the perspective back.
Yeah. Do you not watch television?
Not much. Kind of touch and go.
Newspapers? Internet?
About the same. They come here every month.
You know them?
Yeah. The grave belongs to Andrew Robinson. She died 5 years ago. That's her husband and her son. She was a special lady. Godly woman full of compassion and generosity. And she was a big influence on the lives of those two men, along with a lot of other people.
Sounds like she had it all together.
Not always. There were a few times the family came close to falling apart, but their faith sustained them.
You go to church with her?
Sorta. I'm in a lot of churches.
Evangelist?
Not exactly. How about you?
I work for the government.
That explains the need for peace and quiet.
Yeah. Oh, Kelly.
Work?
Yeah,
Deadlines?
you could say that.
A lot of decision making?
Look, I really shouldn't be talking about my work, but yes, it's about decisions.
I understand.
You can't possibly understand. Every breath you take is put under a microscope. I talk to someone in the bakery, and it's a soundbite on the news. Sometimes it's just so,
Lonely?
yeah, lonely.
So what's bugging you about this decision?
Like I said, Look, do you really not know who I am?
Sure I do. You're somebody who's looking for peace and quiet.
You know, I go to church, I pray, I love reading my Bible. I always thought that was part of the reason why they thought I would do a good job for them. I've always tried to trust people. No, I never 100%.
So we're talking deep pain, hidden from everyone, keeping you from moving forward, right?
What?
Don't worry. It's not that uncommon.
You don't know anything about me.
You think God knows?
Yes, I do. That's one of the things I struggle with. Ooh, this is ridiculous. I don't even know you, and I've got someplace to be this afternoon. I've got to go.
You'd be ashamed to leave without the peace you came for, Maggie.
Okay, nobody calls me that but my family. Now, just who are you?
Obviously somebody who can read a keychain.
I'm sorry. Oh, I didn't mean to be... Look, I'm really just jumpy today.
You know what? I feel like stretching my legs. You want to walk with me?
Sure. Why not?
Would it help if I told you that I know what it feels like to feel lonely in the face of being criticized?
Did your friends think you were doing things just to look good instead of knowing you well enough to realize it was something else?
Well, I know some did. I also know others didn't. But it really wasn't about what my friends thought. It was about doing what I knew God wanted me to do.
There are a lot of things people can call you that'll stick. Hypocrite's the worst one.
You think anyone is ever fully prepared for what life throws at them? Struggling isn't pretty. Sometimes it isn't meant to be.
What if you didn't struggle when you should have?
Meaning what?
Meaning, what if deep down you knew something was wrong, but you did it anyway? You failed the test, and the reminder of it never went away.
Are you discounting God's ability to forgive?
I don't know.
Maggie, God's love is massive in size and strength. And his desire to forgive people is just as big.
But that just doesn't seem...
Rational? It isn't. God's love makes no sense at all to the world, especially when people try to define it in their terms. It goes against every instinct the world ever had. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. She's usually pretty good about staying put.
No problem.
Come on, sweetie. Let's leave these nice people alone.
I'm sorry. Bye-bye, scissors.
Bye, Elizabeth.
Looks like we made a circle. Andra Robinson. Wasn't that the perfect woman you were telling me about?
Andrew was far from perfect. As a matter of fact, when she was 31 years old, she abandoned her family. Just up and took off one day.
You didn't mention that.
Well, they eventually got back together. After a year, she realized she made a mistake and went back home.
And?
And she asked God to forgive her, and he did. And she asked her family to forgive her, and they did.
I can't imagine how they could do that.
Probably because she started at the top. And without that noose of guilt around her neck to hold her back, she went on to do some great things with her life. Just like you will, once that noose is gone.
Like I said, you don't know anything about me. Tomorrow morning, I'll be casting the deciding vote on a bill that will eventually bring abortion to an end in this country.
Yeah?
When I was in college, I had an abortion. I was 21. He was one of my professors. I loved him, and respected him. And I thought he felt the same way. When I got pregnant, well, it didn't fit into either of our plans. So, that was that. A month later, we were over. I met Glenn at a fundraiser a few years after that, and we got married. But there'd been some damage, so he and I were never able to have kids of our own. I've carried this around with me for as long as I can remember. Thought I'd put it all behind me. Now here I sit, high and mighty, about to tell thousands of women they can't do exactly what I did. What kind of person am I?
You're one who's just overlooked a couple of important details.
What are you talking about?
Well, first of all, God didn't say you are forgiven just as soon as you feel forgiven. He said you are forgiven. If you don't feel that way, and the problem is between you and that noose I mentioned earlier, not you and God.
Would that be the noose that's keeping me from accomplishing great things?
You've always believed in what happened at the cross, right?
Yeah, of course I have.
Well, if you don't acknowledge the forgiveness part, then that whole thing was a big waste of time. Do you think God arranged all that so you could feel chained up by something you did 30 years ago? Or so that you could move on and maybe keep other people from being chained up the same way?
At least 100 times I've asked for his forgiveness.
Then there's just one thing left for you to do. Accept it. Bye, Maggie.
Bye, Jesus.
When did I lose the light of day? All the colors fade to gray. The world is changing, time starts to slip away. Where is the hope of better days? The heart, it fails me, and cold is in the air, never more alone than now.
Sorry you didn't have time to read it. The only thing that isn't filled in is your decision on the vote. I trust you'll take care of that.
I want to thank you all for being here today. I know everyone's anxious to get a heads up on how I'm going to vote tomorrow. It's a decision that will have repercussions for years to come. And it's one that has the possibility of beginning a healing process from a place that has divided us as a nation for a long time. In reaching my decision, I did a lot of soul searching. I also searched out for the one who made my soul to begin with. So now, instead of explaining to you about my conflict and struggle with telling other women how to live their lives, I'd like to tell you how I've decided to live mine. About 30 years ago, I had an abortion. I was young, I wasn't married, and I certainly wasn't walking with God. I was going my own way, down my own path. And for years after, I lived with fear and guilt and shame for what I'd done. It wasn't until I accepted the gift of His forgiveness that I was able to lay that horrible time of my life at His feet. And from that moment, I was freed of all that inner pain that had been like a noose around my neck, choking the joy of life from me. I was also enlightened as to just how big God's heart really is, and how there's nothing I can't overcome by way of His grace and healing touch. Now I realize there'll be some who call me hypocritical, and I can understand that. But I'd like to think of myself as being restored and given a second chance to rectify a mistake I made by now doing all I can to keep other women from being led down the same path I followed. This wonderful country of ours was founded on faith in a loving and understanding Father. And I believe that only through a reemergence of that faith will our land truly begin to heal. So it is my wish and my hope that tomorrow's vote will be the first step in reestablishing this country as our founding fathers meant it to be. For so long, we have taken too many leniencies.
Thank you.